Hey, what's up? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking to Grammy-nominated drummer Aric Improta. Let's go.
That's my kind. I don't want no bad times. I don't want to have bad.
The thing about this show that makes it unique is like it really does feel like we're in the studio or we're like at dinner talking for the most part. You know what I mean? And so I feel like if you come in and then we catch up and then we sit down, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So I always have to feel it out.
I'm sure it's weird when you have that catch up and then they're like, go. And you're like, all right, let's repeat
Now
all the things.
Let me ask you some questions.
Yeah, totally.
So sometimes my friends will come in here and I'll be like, yo, let's not talk until we sit down.
Right.
And they're like, cool. Or they're like, that's weird. And they're like, okay, let's talk. So, you have to feel it out.
Yeah, I actually, I think this is the third time I've been here, but obviously we haven't met.
Yeah.
First time was with Zach, and I think it was like the week he came here.
Yeah.
So shout out to Zach because he was going off to do his own thing. I know you guys like reached out right away.
Yeah.
And I hit him with a project that I don't think anybody ever wants to mix. I just finished a 40-minute drum solo.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know very many people that want to mix that, let alone listen to it, but it was for this like performance art piece in Germany, and he was down and killed it, and it sounds incredible. And then me and Steve, the old Guitars to Fever, came in to do some work with Zach and Poppy. So those are the two times I cruised through, but this place is sick.
Thanks.
Like I'd love to like record here, like just making music. Like the way that you guys have everything set up is such a good vibe to kind of like explore and do things that don't really feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel sterile like a lot of the other studios I've been to, I guess.
Thank you. It's been like 9 years of trying.
9?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know you guys were doing this that long.
Yeah, 9 years of trying. We've been in this building for 8.
That's awesome.
And we actually ended up buying this studio from Will Smith, which was so cool.
Is he a cool dude?
Oh my God, he's so cool.
That's like the last person I would have expected that you bought the studio from.
Yeah.
How did that whole switch off happen?
He like had this studio. It was called the Boom Boom Room for years. And he did like the Fresh Prince albums here and, all the Will Smith stuff.
Yeah.
I don't actually think it was called Fresh Prince. The albums were, I just call it the Fresh Prince album. Will Smith as a rap artist, he did his, his iconic records here.
Gotcha.
I guess I just call him Fresh Prince because I was such a fan of the show.
No, but I would assume like when you say that, you mean like the Men in Black soundtrack and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that stuff, all the Will Smith stuff was
Yeah.
done here. And obviously DJ Jazzy Jeff, who's like legendary DJ for any DJ fans. The Boom Boom Room, he bought it. He recorded here. Jada had a heavy band, she did metal, and she recorded here. And then the studio, they opened it up, and it was just running as a studio. When they weren't recording, everybody recorded here. I mean, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Justin Bieber, Wiz Khalifa. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Like,
so did you guys come through here at that time?
We had worked here. Me and Benj worked here with like, maybe it was Swedish House Mafia. We were writing with someone here.
Okay.
And I mean, everybody worked here. There were so many artists here. It was insane. Like Christina Aguilera recorded here. There were just so many records made here. And when we worked here, I remember thinking, wow, this is such a cool vibe. This place has such a cool vibe. I would love to have a place like this one day.
Yeah.
That's the dream. And then the studio was coming on the market. They were selling it, I guess, after probably 2 decades or something of a long time of owning this place. Anyways, they were selling it. And my friend who's a commercial real estate person was like, hey, there's a great studio coming to the market. And he sent us the link for before it was on the market.
Yeah.
And we were like, holy shit, that's the Boom Boom Room.
Yeah.
The place we worked. We'd been here like 3 times. And we came for the open house that they were having, and it was just packed. And we went up to the real estate agent, and he's like, yeah, we got like 10 offers.
That's what I was about to ask. So this was an open house for people that were like considering buying.
Yeah, like buyers. It was just going on the market. It was just going on the market.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh man, And this was 8-9 years ago. He was like, you could of course make an offer, but it's going to be really competitive. And we were like, okay, cool. And then we huddled up and we were like, should we, if we make an offer? And I was like, I know one of his best friends is also one of my father-in-law's best friends. This guy, Al Silfen. He's a incredible photographer, like sick photographer, has photographed everyone. Like he's a famous photographer, but he's one of my father-in-law's best friends. And I've known him for years, just through the family.
Yeah.
And I was like, Al's close with Will. Maybe I can just call him and see if we have a shot to just like ask Will.
Right.
If he'll sell it to us. And I called Al and he was like, I'm with Will right now.
No shit.
Let me call you back. I'll ask him. And he was like, Will, the Madden brothers are at the studio. It's going on the market. He's like, yeah, we're selling it. And he's like, they want to buy the studio. He's like, I love those guys. Yeah. Sell it to him.
No way.
He was like,
just like that.
He was like, I'll tell the realtor that they want to buy it and to sell it to him.
See,
and
it's a trip. Like,
it was so cool.
And then you specifically remember this place being one where you came and you were like, damn, this is such a cool vibe. Like, I want something like this.
I said, actually, I would love to own this place one day.
Okay.
But in my mind, I said, but that's probably not possible. So a place like it.
Right. Okay. So the reason I'm asking this is like, I'm sure you've had a ton of these experiences given the amount of time that you've been working in this industry. But
yeah,
those moments when like, it's exactly like you presented. You're sitting there and you have it and it's like this brief feeling like that'd be cool. But at the current place you're at, you're kind of just like, but I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you have the moment where you get the studio, right? That like jump of time, like it's almost like and my wife was actually listening to Amy Poehler's audiobook recently.
How long have you been married?
1 year.
Oh, wow.
But we've been together for 14 years.
Congrats.
Thank you. And she was listening to her audiobook and she was talking about how she thinks that's her experience with time travel, is being super focused in a moment. And then like you leave it. And when you come back to it and it's like fast forward, you get like propelled back to the moment you first felt that way at that space.
The inception point.
Yeah. And I've had that a lot. So that's why I'm curious. Like, it's so cool to hear that. Cause like last month I filled in for Goldfinger and I remember I'd done it like a few years back and then I'd done touring with Fever and I came back and just did it this month. But the first time that I was sitting in with them, learning their like cover of 99 Red Balloons,
yeah,
I totally forgot that at like the age of 12, I downloaded that song illegally on like LimeWire. And that was one of the first songs I heard where in my head, I was like, damn, I want to drum in a punk band. Like I want to play a song like this in front of a bunch of kids with my friends. And I totally forgot about it. And then on stage while I was playing, like,
you remembered it.
Yeah, I look at my hands and I was like, holy shit, it's happening. So you having that moment with this studio, it's awesome, but it's also cool to hear that you're still having those in your career, even, 15, 20, 25 years in.
Yeah, because I got to say, that's how everything in my life has worked.
Really?
Everything.
That's awesome.
And I think that's like what people would say, like manifestation. We don't really kind of complete the thought when we just say manifest it.
Right.
Because I think the idea of manifesting something is thinking it, but then the actual practical value of manifesting is the work.
Right, totally.
Towards the thing. And if you just think about the end game, the every day while you're working, you might get overwhelmed or underwhelmed and you might quit. So I think forgetting is a good thing.
Yeah, I could see that being the case. Because like there's a deeper side of this, right? Like that your life is going to be creating. Your life is going to be making music. And if it gets you this studio or a bigger studio or a smaller studio, it's kind of besides the point. It's like, this is the journey you're on. But when it lines up like this, I'm sure it's a cool reminder that you're taking all the right steps to do the stuff that you set out to do.
I think we have what are like these verification moments where we're verifying what we thought or what we hoped or what we believed.
Totally.
So I think these are these bigger verification moments, but there's also small ones and you'll miss them if you aren't looking. If you're, like I said, if you only think of the big goal,
right.
You miss the little verification moments along the way. Like, let's say someone is trying to improve something in their life, right? Maybe that's their financial situation. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. I always say that to my kids, like, doesn't happen overnight. And they're like, we know, Dad, it happens over time. They get tired of hearing it, but the incremental gains are the most important gains we can make.
Totally.
I think in the journey towards the big gain, which is it's like putting money in the bank every day. It's healthy to look at the balance to make sure you're right side up. But if you don't look, if you only focus on that balance, it's not going to grow fast enough for you.
Right.
So you have to like check in on it every once in a while and go, are we still in line? Are we still heading up towards that mountain we're trying to climb?
No, but I think the reality check side of it's what's important, right? Because like you can also fall in love with the art and totally lose sight of where you are in life
And
in
where
your
you're
career.
going. Yeah. You can be directionless.
Totally.
And
then on the other side of that, when you're just checking your bank account, sometimes you forget to make any art because you're just trying to sell whatever the last thing you did was. So I do think
exactly.
I agree with you. And I think
you lose the feeling of like also the joy part of life where you're like enjoy what you're doing.
Totally.
Like sometimes it is good to go spend money.
I'm curious now that we're talking about this, how do you regulate those time periods? Because I've found I do like an intense 6 months of creating and then an intense 6 months of showing the world that thing and finding out like how to make what I created connect with people. But do you have it like, is it kind of like always going at the same time or does it feel like it trades off?
I think that's a really good question. I think that, and I don't know if I have an answer. I think I have a perspective of all I can say is over time, is my life better or worse?
Yeah.
And then if it's better, I think I'm on track. Right. And if it's worse, I'm not on track. And then if we can put together a few years of better, then we really start to get some momentum in better. And I think that like people get used to better a lot faster than they get used to worse.
Definitely.
And so we hold on to better with all of our might.
Yeah.
And that allows us to do better and better and better. I also believe that all growth is chaotic. So none of it's organized. There can be like an organization to the chaos, but in the organization, there's just chaos during growth. And so when you haven't gotten used to that chaos during the growth periods, it'll freak you out.
Definitely see that.
I think I've seen it with all of our companies. Yeah. Whenever they grow, it's a little chaotic and people that are a little newer are like, oh my God, I'm a little shook.
Right.
And you're like, no, trust me, we're going up. It's just chaotic because there's a lot of opportunity and we've got to sift through what's the right opportunity, the wrong opportunity, like all the nuance, right?
Yeah.
The time frame of like what you're saying, I create for 6 months, I promote for 6 months, right?
In general, try to
call it promotion or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Show the world, but I call it promotion, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Just to label it. But you may create for 3 months and promote for 6 months, or you may create for 6 months and promote for 3 months. Right. And you might find the balance is as you get more and more time behind you, you have to watch the game tape and go like, what part did we, like, how do we optimize everything we're doing? And so like how much of that 6 months do I think I really made an impact? And how much of it do I feel I was just overexerting myself out of anxiety?
Right.
And then if I can like really thoroughly like watch back the game tape and with no judgment of myself, good or bad, and just go like, I feel like the 4 of those 6 months were really impactful.
Right.
The other 2, I was just anxious and I really wanted to force a result that I didn't get or that I wanted to get. And like there is like I always say like the nuance of all of this is like it's the magic part that everyone like the things we can't control.
Right.
We could predict they might happen, but we can't control when those moments happen. And like I may be over promoting for the 6 months, I might have just been 3.
Right.
And I may burn myself out if I'm not like in touch with. And all of that just comes from experience. It's just being willing to like step back and go like, let's analyze this. What did we do right? What did we maybe just like, how did we use our time?
Totally.
And like, I don't know that we're like good at that yet, but like we try.
I was gonna say is I feel like for the time you've been doing this, you have to get it like honed in at a certain point and like at least look back like you're saying and be able to like honestly reflect like, okay, 2 of those months were super efficient.
And the rest, the 4, I was just anxious. I was just trying to force people to look at my thing. And so you find like the ebbs and flows, you find the give and the take, you find the like, oh, lean in, it's time to lean in. And sometimes you could be in a creative moment and something pops off.
Right.
And you might go, I got to lean in, I got to go out and promote this. And you got to find the balance there.
That's a hard lesson to learn.
And try to be flexible to like the chaotic nature of growth.
Absolutely. No, I think your point. There's a really cool quote, by the way, that says chaos is the law of nature and order is the dream of man. And I think about
Love
it.
that. That's a great quote. Who said that?
Dude, I need to check back. I have a National Geographic book that like goes
That's dope.
through different like periods of like nightlife. And that's like one of the big quotes in there. And I think about it, especially in the creative process, because you're right. Like you could be in like this moment where you feel so inspired and you're sitting there like I have like sometimes 8-hour drum days where I'm like,
That's crazy.
This is where I need to be to figure out like I don't know if you have this be a little bit of a tangent, but like you're working on a project and you know what it's supposed to feel like, but you haven't seen it done exactly the way you want. And you can see the hints of where you're at. They're closer to what it's supposed to feel like, but you're not there yet.
Yeah.
And like as you start to get closer, you get this momentum and you feel like, at least for myself, I feel like, okay, these 8 hours, like I'm getting there. And then like you said, especially with the internet being what it is, something takes off and you're like, okay, as much as I love this state of creating and seeing where it goes, like it's also the responsibility of my career to lean into this aspect that's now taking off and make sure that I don't just let that slip away. And that balance.
If it feels right, there could be a moment though where like something takes off and you don't feel like you. That's the thing, is it gets so like nuanced.
Right.
Like there's no rules to art.
Yeah, it's hard
So how can we contain it to box it up and sell it is what we have to figure out how to do so that we can sustain ourselves.
Right.
So that we can keep making art.
Yeah.
But finding how to do that is the question as old as the music business. It's
right.
like,
Totally.
how do we do that where it feels like we're still making art and yet we want to do this for a living? So what does that mean? Well, that means we have to make money. We have to find a sustainable pattern of how we do it, where we can actually live a life that we're building. I mean, it's a great idea to go like, oh yeah, I just want to make music and then get big and rich and famous. And you're like,
right.
Man, that's a wonderful, shiny kind of banner to put above something. But what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything, actually. It means to be successful at art at a level where at scale,
right,
where enough people are engaged that I can do this and solely this to sustain my real life, which is every day I'm in the world, getting up, going into the world and living. And if I don't have the ability to pay for my food, pay for my house, do all the, like, that's the reality of life of like, we're all people living and we need to have sustainability.
Totally.
And so how do we do that? How does art support that? And how do we find the balance of like not letting that perceived need of more, because we all need more, because that's human nature,
right.
Or we want more. I think healthy people always want more of good things.
I think that's a fair assessment.
And I think unhealthy people want more of bad things.
I haven't actually heard it articulated that way, but that actually makes a lot of sense.
There's patterns we fall into, and we have the work of life is figuring out which patterns do we want to keep and which patterns can we break and get rid of. And some of them are generational, like just deep shit.
Right.
So that's where my head swirls all day long in these like kind of philosophical conversations around like the how, the why, and then the reality of our actual real life where we're living in the world, walking on the ground.
Yeah.
And we're not just bodiless consciousness thoughts. Like, because we are all in our heads a certain amount of time. And so we're not in our body, we're in our mind. And what is our mind? It's not our brain. Our brain is an organ. Our mind is something else. And we're in our mind more than we are in our brain. And so like our consciousness is in our subconscious, and all of that is in us somewhere.
Totally.
And so like we have to find a way to acknowledge that, but then also be in our real body where we have to like eat, we have to take care of it, or we don't live long.
Right. Well, it's very interesting to hear you break this down the way that you are, because I would have wanted to ask you these questions anyway in general, because for me, my career has been very like weird, like unexpected.
You've had a very interesting career so far.
It's been.
How old are you?
I'm 34 now.
Oh, cool. You're young.
I'm
way
young.
older than you.
But the reason I'm bringing it up is like those incremental shifts, you don't always know what they mean. And
you look like you're 24.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's all good. It's just funny to me because like when I look at like from what I know of your career, right? Like you were in a band, and then the shifts that you made after that band, that's just as much an investment of time and energy and thought and creative navigating as being in a band, if not more.
Yeah,
and
it's hard.
It's awesome to hear though, because I don't know, when you're young, you have this image, at least for me, of what I thought my career was going to be.
Yeah, you
And
have an idea of what you think success is anyways when you're young.
totally. And I have these check marks, and I feel like every time I get those check marks, it's never the way I thought I was going to. Like, it's satisfying, but for me, it wasn't. It was like the most obscure way towards a lot of these things. But at the same time, hearing how creatively driven you still are gives me like a lot of inspiration, thinking about like I'm at a point now where I just assume I don't know what's happening next. Like, I put things into motion and I give them my fullest effort. And
Because like I think sometimes music fans get this image of us, this idea of us seared into their memory,
right.
and it's more of an emotional take.
Absolutely. It could have been because of the time of their life that they experienced it. It could have been like what you're saying, just
Right.
that it was that artist's first record instead of their third. Like, there's so many factors.
Right, and of what's good, and so like challenging that idea of what you think of me at musically is going to be my artistic mission for the rest of my life,
Right.
and I may never succeed at it.
Yeah.
And so far, I'll tell you, I haven't.
Interesting for you to say that.
So the idea people have of me musically is an old idea that I love. It's definitely a part of my
Right.
in the catalog of things I've done. It's the most noteworthy. The things that most people would go, oh, that song.
I could see that publicly, but
Right.
knowing what you do like in your own career is like, from my perspective, feels like it holds equal weight. It's just less, it has your face in the front less,
Right.
but it's, I mean,
It's
you
hopefully
do a lot. Like, I don't know.
hopefully it's a influencing the world in a good way.
Totally.
For what we think is good art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Artists we believe in as people. We share values. We share, I don't know, like all the artists that I get to work with, I really like them personally.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd be able to work with someone in fact, I know I couldn't work with someone I didn't think I share at least some values with, that we all meet in a place where we all kind of, I think, just like people who want to bring good things to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so hopefully we're building things that affect the world in a way that bring people joy, that bring people, I think, self-esteem, self-love, self-belief, inspire people to make their own art.
Right.
I think that's something that gets killed in a lot of us early on, is we get made to feel like making our little art projects isn't important.
Right.
At a young age, if you're just, what are kids supposed to do? They're supposed to play.
Yeah.
And I think they're supposed to figure out like who they are. And how do we do that? We experiment.
Totally.
We just try stuff, and then something sticks because we like it. We like the way it makes us feel, and we like the way it makes other people feel when we show them. And I think at an early age, I think like that gets killed somewhere by like adults who had it killed long ago themselves.
Right. And I think that's usually what it is.
It's a pattern. It's a cycle.
It's usually somebody that didn't get to do the things that they wanted, and then they've dedicated their life to what they think they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And they're looking out. Sometimes I think it's out of love, right? Sometimes I think they're trying to make sure that their kid doesn't like have that same heartbreak they did.
Yeah.
But ultimately, obviously, in our experience anyway, like, you should never give up on the things that you want to do. I think even now it's getting harder and harder because there's so many external motivations. So kind of going back to what we were talking about with the love of your art versus the side of promotion, right? There's a pretty famous study where they were breaking down, I think it was kindergarten students, and they were all drawing for fun. And then the minute that the teacher gave them a reward, even something as simple as a gold star, all of a sudden the experience shifted for them. And it was like, if they drew but didn't get a gold star, then they felt like they weren't having the same experience. They'd be like, what about the gold star? Or like, they'd ask if they're going to get one before they even start drawing. And the reason I bring this up is like, obviously with social media, that's such a big factor. And that like when we were kids and we were just writing in a room, we just wanted to end up with a good song. There wasn't this instant moment of like, how does this do on Instagram? How does this do on TikTok? It was like, does this sound cool? Do my friends like it? Can we play it well? And that sort of shift, I think it makes it harder and harder for people sometimes, at least from some of the younger musicians I've talked to fall in love with the art, because so much of it is driven by like, how is this art performing when I put it out? And when you talk about that shift of like deciding to do a regular job or kill your dream versus like dive into it, it's almost scary because you get reception right away, that now it's not just parents. I think even like when you put stuff out in public, there's this more instant response to your work that makes you feel whether you're doing a good or bad job versus just hanging with your friends and letting your art incubate until it's actually ready for a live show or actually ready for people to hear.
Yeah, I think it's feedback. So I think that like we don't recognize that we are all looking for feedback all the time.
Right.
But when I was younger, I used to look for the negative, and that's all I'd see. But I realized like you will find what you're looking for, period, in the world. If you're looking for friends, you'll find them. If you're looking for enemies, you'll find them. If you're looking for people who love you, you'll find it. If you're looking for people who don't like you, you'll find it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for people who don't respect you, you'll find it. There's plenty of everything. It's a all you can eat buffet of whatever you want to find. If you look for friends, you'll find them. If you look for people who think you're special, you will find it. And that's when I shifted my whole life. I think when I was around 30 something, I think I learned it from my wife. I think I learned it from a couple of my friends. I would kind of go, why does it seem so easy for you to just be comfortable in your own skin?
Yeah.
Why does it seem so easy for you to just be happy with whatever? You're just happy.
Did you find a common thread in that? And the reason I'm asking is, as we're talking about this, so I worked at the YMCA for 8 years.
Oh, that's cool.
As I was going to school.
Is that a volunteer job?
No, at the time it was a part-time job. It was like after school helping with homework and stuff. But when I was going to college, I was a communications major, but I focused on film. And at the time, I just needed something that was going to like not interrupt band practice, college. And
Where'd you go to college?
Cal State Fullerton.
Where'd you grow up?
Fullerton.
Okay.
So
cool.
I was literally like, I went to high school across the street at Troy, and I spent all of college waiting to get a tour to leave college, and then got my first tour a month after I graduated.
Wow. So you were working at the YMCA, and what did you discover?
The confidence kids have. I had fourth graders. Fourth graders were rad because they were just old enough to have sense of humor and be down to participate. It's the best.
The best age.
Fifth grade, they're obviously a bit smarter, so they start to question things. And by sixth grade, a lot of them are cool. And then I would say 95% of those kids, when they came back to visit from junior high, the part of them that would just like dance on command or sing in public was gone.
The joyful part.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you can't get it back, but like, I think that when you can hit kids with creative aspirations at a young age, it's a lot higher chance for them to carry that out through the rest of their life. Whereas if you try and hit a kid with that sort of like goal or mentality once they've already sort of entered that like self-conscious phase, I think it's a lot harder to break through, at least from my experience of working with kids.
But I think that is where most of us get our creative streak that we all have. I think it gets killed, and we start looking at the way other people will respect it if I do it. What feels like worth trying? And most of the time, I think it's killed early on, where we're like, why would I even try that? Like, why would I go buy some paint and get a canvas and try to paint?
Right.
Make some art. Who would care? What would it matter? Who am I to do art? And that's always interesting to me, is like, how do painters? You're a painter, right?
A little bit.
Or
I illustrate in general.
Right.
I paint guitars though.
So you draw?
Yeah.
And do you do it on pencil and paper?
That's where I started.
Okay.
So a lot of the work's there. And when I do that, I'll design like tattoos for people and stuff. But I started transferring over to, honestly, music-based mediums, just because that's what my audience was. And I thought, like, what else is here? So I have symbols that I work with a partner, and we like rust the designs into the symbols. And then I work with Schecter, and we do, they'll have me paint guitars. So it started with just pencil and paper, and then started to stretch out to other mediums.
And where can people get the guitars? Where do they buy them?
I mean, I sell them just like...
Schecter's a dope guitar.
They're great. Their bodies are also great to work off of, and like...
Big bodies.
Because that's the thing, right? If you don't have a lot of workspace, it gets tough.
Yeah.
And it's a cool challenge because it's not a square, right? So you grow up and you're used to drawing on paper, and with this, like, you have to create designs and line work that conforms to the shape of a guitar and complements it. So that's all been a challenge.
Have you done like custom guitars for guitar players?
Yeah, I did one for Jerry from Papa Roach.
Cool.
Like a year ago, I think.
Cool.
And then a couple friends, but honestly, like, it's a side hustle. So when I'm home from tour, I'll do like 4, and then I won't do it for like 6 months,
right,
and then come home and do it for fun. But that's always been like, I think I got lucky staying inspired by art because my dad is an artist. So my dad designed the sets for Married to Children for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And then when that show got canceled, he went to
Crazy.
design for Disney.
Little Americana for you.
Yeah, yeah. When we were kids, he used to take us like to like the screenings and stuff when we were like 4 and 5.
Did you get to go on the set?
Yeah, I was on the show twice.
You were on the show?
Yeah, like as a kid.
No way.
And we would do they'd have like these rap parties at the end of the season where we'd all go like mini golfing with the cast. And I was like 5, 6, 7. They were always super cool. Actually,
Crazy.
I didn't think about this for a long time. All of my toys as a kid, like I had all these Star Wars toys that were in Bud's room. And then when he got when he got too old and they had to redress his room, they were just like, do you want to give all these toys to your kid? So I ended up having like his room as a kid.
What an iconic set.
Yeah. Yeah. It was supposed to be.
So your dad was super creative.
Both my parents were. So
what'd your mom do?
My mom started as an actress and then quickly realized she loved teaching. So like she started canceling auditions to substitute and then became a drama teacher.
Wow.
So she taught theater and like.
Did she have any like superstar students?
She had a couple kids that went on Broadway.
Sick.
She has a student on some like SEAL team show right now.
Cool.
But the part that's crazy about that is she taught at an academic magnet. So nobody went to that school to be an actor or actress.
Okay.
So people coming out of that, loving drama, it was like almost against the agenda when you decide to go to Whitney High School. So she had a crazy impact on her students, and both my parents worked hard. Like my mom worked like 5 hours after school was out for as long as I know. And my
set design is hard work too, dude.
It's insane. And my dad retired right when COVID started, but he was doing like at like 65, he was still doing 12-hour days for Disney sometimes.
What was he doing at Disney?
He went to do parade floats. So the minute that like reality TV kind of took over and Married to Children had its final season, he was just like, all right, I need something consistent. I got 2 kids, and like pilot season, like it's exciting because you've got new shows, but at the same time, if something doesn't get picked up, you're just like waiting for it to roll around again.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, so he did Disney for a minute, and all of that, I think for me, it was great because I just saw how much they valued art. Like it wasn't like nothing I did ever looked or sounded like what my parents did, but it was almost like on the level that people like involve religion in their family life, like art was just everywhere. And we went to movies 3 times a week and like talked about movies. It wasn't just like we'd leave and it was like, what was your favorite part? Did you expect this? Like everything was about it. So I think
there was kind of like an analytical kind of like unpacking of like what you'd watch a movie and then together you guys would all like break it down and like
exactly
talk about like it's critiquing art.
Yeah, but
cool.
but without losing the magic, right? Because it was always like, what did you connect with? But they never like, they like still made us feel like anything could happen. You know what I mean? Like there was never that aspect of like really ripping some. I guess sometimes my dad would rip on some stuff, but other than that, they kept.
Well, he was likely honest about from his experience. I mean, that's a high level. You know, doing that what he did, that was like doing something at a high level.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like creating something that is in the fabric of a generation of people's entertainment.
Absolutely.
You know, diet is that. I feel like we're the same way in our house with music and fashion. So I always listen to music with a little bit more of like I guess because I've been doing it for so long, I hear songs. I can hear every part while I listen to it in real time. I can hear the lyrics, the melody, the music. I can hear the mix. I can hear everything right away.
Yeah.
And I share what I think always.
Do you see your kids connecting with like different forms of art, or like in music, do they like different stuff from each other, or do they like align a lot with what you like? Like how does that go?
They don't really like what I like.
Really?
But I like what they like.
Interesting.
They're more modern music fans. So they're huge fans of like, you know, Travis Scott, Playboi Carti, Drake, you know, all the modern stuff.
Right.
And I like it too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have notes because I hear people's music and I feel like they didn't spend enough time getting a guitar sound. If I'm doing something at a high level, I think anyone doing anything at a high level, they should consult on things that maybe they don't have as much experience in. And sometimes I hear on the mix, on the And it's not just guitars. I'm not saying I'm a guitar expert. I've just been around them enough to know
Naturally,
if
that's what you're
something's
going to
coming
hear.
out of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
box and it's a sound that anyone can use, or if it's been toiled over and the right tone's been found, and or a good guitar player's played it. You can kind of always tell. Like
Right.
drums are another one. Like you can hear drums. I'm sure you hear drums and you go, God, I wish they would have just tracked live drums on that and mixed it in.
I mean, yeah, I think I'm curious if you have this though, because as you're talking about this, it made me think. There's two questions here. One, I'm curious if your kids appreciate it, if they're like, we get it, Dad. Like you would do this. But two, for me, I do when I feel like it was so close to something I would have loved if this one thing was different. But I also do have a and I'm sure you have this because of your range of taste. I also have an appreciation for things that are drastically different from how I would do it. Right? You know, where like
Of course.
sometimes you're just like, yeah, I mean, those drums should have been recorded with one mic in a room and it sounds like it was in a garage. And other times when it's like this close to being my favorite record, I think that's when it hits me the most. Like I would have just changed this or whatever else. So
Or
I'm
like
curious.
copy and pasting vocals, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
just sing the chorus 3 times. Just sing it and don't copy and paste it.
Right.
I think great rock bands exist today, but there's something about that last era of music before digital.
This was about to ask you is when do you consider the ending?
2000 to 2004 or 5.
Okay.
Kind of like that.
I really want to hear what
last-
you have to say about this because I've felt something similar. So go for it.
So if we call it analog, just call it analog.
Yeah.
Just to sum up, before everything kind of went in the box.
Right.
Not to say people aren't making live records. I know they are. And so I'm not lumping all bands together because I'm a huge fan of modern bands too.
No, I got you. I won't take it that way.
There are and will continue to be classic bands.
Right.
There will. But that 90s era was so special. It's like what classic rock in the 90s was: Led Zeppelin,
Right.
Jimi Hendrix. Those are the era of bands that I think we idolize now as the greatest. Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, just like a bunch of my favorites. I love all those bands. Incubus. I just think it was this era of music that was so free and raw and creative. And now I think that they're seeing it in real life. Like I think those bands their touring is bigger than ever.
That's what I've been told.
It's bigger than ever. I'm telling you, just from what I know.
I mean, the
and
few
working
tours
with
that
bands,
we've done with those bands, it's crazy.
It's bigger than it's ever been. And it's the way live rock and roll was meant to be experienced, because I think the layers of depth in Incubus, when you look at the musicians in that band.
Oh my God.
Sick.
That band has like verses on the radio in like 7, 8, like stuff that a musician can dive into, but when you're just listening as like,
and then Brandon
12-year-old,
goes, which is interesting too, because for a time, because it was it was on the radio.
Right.
And in a time when radio was really important, I would not be doing music if I didn't have alternative radio. When I was a teenager, we listened to the local alternative station.
Right.
We discovered bands, and then we tried to make music like those bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so radio turned into kind of a bad word somewhere in the 2000s, but in the 90s, the alternative radio was like everything. The HF Festival was this big festival in DC that was in a football stadium. It would sell out every year in an hour, and the biggest rock bands would play it. Everyone played it. Like every big rock band, Rage Against the Machine, the Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, everyone played it.
Yeah.
And it was just iconic because of that radio, because we all listened to that radio.
Right.
And
there was this unified source.
And at the time, that's all, especially if you grew up as a kid in a small town far away, that was the source of cool. That's where you'd find a new band. Yeah. And then you'd go to a record store and look for their t-shirt and read through a magazine and try to find an article. And you'd start searching before the internet, before you had access to just searching their profile. So there was a rawness to it and an unpredictability and a authenticity to it that, like, I don't know if we get that all the time now. We certainly do. So I'm not saying that bands now couldn't make that great of music, because they can. But there's something really special about it. And then to see it now and how generationally big it is,
right?
It just is. It's pretty iconic. I think.
No, absolutely.
And,
I think it holds the same weight as like what you're talking about. Like,
And
it's the
he's
new
like
classic rock.
quietly iconic. Like he's not out there selling anything. You know, like he's hard to find.
Now, he's a very genuine person, right?
Yeah.
Like he's an artist and he's a genuine person. And then whatever else comes of that, it's just a reflection of how good his art is. Like he's not out there like trying to promote his personality. Like at least from my experience and getting to hang with him a few times and work on projects, like he's so thorough and
He's dope.
his enthusiasm for what he's working on and his attention to detail is like the same, at least again, in my experience of collaborating with him.
He's a big artist.
Yeah, his visual art is amazing, and even he wrote on a Night Versus song for our new record that's coming out.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
cool.
His attention to detail, like he had so many layers of vocals that he tracked and like hand wrote lyrics, and even when I first started talking to him, like he had messaged me because I was using some effects pedals, like guitar effects pedals on drums, and he was just like, "Hey, we should do something at some point if you've got time." He had just finished a record. And I was like, let's FaceTime. Let's just figure out something. And I do these collaborations every once in a while that don't have any purpose other than to create. Like,
That's cool.
Like with Justin from Tool, we did a video where we just jammed in a mirror room. And there was no
Tool is another one that I think is just, again, touring bigger than ever.
Right.
Well, I can't wait to hear the new project.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for having me.
It's awesome. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Artist Friendly. If you really liked it, you can follow, like, subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bad times.